Very well, Honorable Kimori, Chairperson Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following procedural motion that pursuant to Section 232, the motion that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on the Public Service Administration and Devolution on the approval of various nominees to the position of the Chairperson, Secretary, and members of the Nyandarua County Public Service Board as a report of the House and the recommendation therein as the resolution of the House, and one, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Dr. Stephen Mwaura Joroge, PhD, HSC, for appointment as the Chairperson of the County Public Service Board, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House does approve Dr. Paul Geshoki Kingori, PhD, for appointment as the Secretary to the County Public Service Board. Number 3, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Reverend David Kanyoni Kimani for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. Number 4, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House does approve Reverend David Gogi Kabono for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. And number 5, that pursuant Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Ms. Dorcas Jerry Karaja for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. And number 6, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Ms. Miriam Nyamweru Vigari for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. Be exempted from the provision of the Standing Order 55B that requires a notice of motion be given at least 1 day before the motion appears on the order paper. Honorable Speaker, I call upon Honorable Gadogo to second.
Thank you, Honorable Gadongo. Honorable members, I propose the question as read by the Chairperson Committee on Public Service and Administration, that the above motions and notice of motion be given at least 1 day before the motion appears on the order paper. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is as read by the Chair, Honorable Edward Kingori, Chairperson, Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution, that the above motion be exempted from the provision of Standing Order 55B that requires a notice of motion be given at least 1 day before the motion appears on the order paper. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, still on order number 8, we have a substantive motion to be moved by Honorable Edmund Ombogo Kingori, Chairperson, Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution.
Very well. Honorable Edmund Kingori, Chairperson, Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following substantive motion that this House does adopt the report of the Committee of the Public Service Administration and Devolution on the approval of various nominees to the position of the Chairperson, Secretary, and the members of the Nyandarua County Public Service Board as a report of the House and the recommendation therein as the resolution of the House, and one, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act this House thus approves Dr. Stephen Mwaura Joroge, PhD, HSC, for appointment as the chairperson of the County Public Service Board. Number 2, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Dr. Paul Gishoki Kingori, PhD, for appointment as the Secretary to the County Public Service Board. Number 3, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Reverend David Kanyoni Kimani for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. 4, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Reverend David Ngugi Kabono for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. And that number 5, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Ms. Dorcas Jerry Karanja for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. And number 6, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act, this House thus approves Ms. Miriam Nyamweru Digari for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of the Article 235 of the Constitution, led together with Section 56 of the County Government Act 2012 and Section 6 of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approvals Act number 5 of 2017. His Excellency the Governor of Nyandarua County Government submitted to the County Assembly names of the nominees for appointment to the position of the chairperson, secretary, and members of the Nyandarua One, Mr. Stephen Mwaura Joroge as a chairperson, Mr. Paul Gishoki Kingori as a secretary to the board, Ms. Miriam Nyamweru Digari, a member of the board, Dorcas Jerry Karaja, a member of the board, David Ngugi Kabono, a member of the board, David Kanyoni Kimani, a member of the board. Honorable Speaker, procedurally, the procedure for appointments of the chairperson and the member of the County Public Service Board is outlined under the County Government Act 2012 or the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017. Specifically, the provision of Section 57 and 58 of the County Government Acts provide for establishment of the County Public Service Board and its composition. Section 58A of the said Act provide for the procedure for nomination and approval of the chairperson, secretary, and the members of the County Public Service Board. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that in accordance with Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, the selection panel submitted to the governor names of 3 applicants who qualified for appointment to the governor for the position of the chairperson, 2 qualified applicants for the position of the secretary, and 6 qualified applicants for the position of a member, and thus abided by the law. The section led as follows. Section 58A, 6D. The selection panel shall within 7 days of receipt of applications under subsection 5, submit the names of 3 qualified applicants for the position of the chairperson, 6 qualified applicants for the position of the member, and 2 qualified applicants for the position secretary to the governor. Honorable Speaker, on issue pertaining to the suitability of the nominees, in conducting the approval hearing, the committee resolved that suitability of the nominees be evaluated holistically, taking into account the following criteria set out in Section 7, 8, 10, and 11, Section 8 and Section 9 of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Act and the Constitution. Specifically, academic credential, professional experience, training, and employment record, potential conflict of interest, statutory obligations, vision, leadership, and knowledge, integrity, performance, and presentation, and lastly, overall suitability. Honorable Speaker, the relevance on issue pertaining to the relevant clearance, the committee verified the against the originals to 1, Kenya Revenue Authority, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Directorate of Criminal Investigation, Higher Education Loan Board, Credit Leverance Bureau, that is CRB. Honorable Speaker, Dr. Stephen Mwaura Joroge, nominee for the position of the chairperson. PhD HSC appeared before the committee on the 15th January 2026 at around 10:05 a.m. and formally submitted his relevant original document alongside a jury-filled vetting questionnaire as prescribed by the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approvals Act. The committee, after inspection of the nominee document and take him through a meticulous vetting process, made the following observation and finding regarding his suitability. One, personal background. He is a male Kenyan citizen, born on 16th October 1958. He is married and proficient in English and Kiswahili and Kikuyu. He hails from Jabini in Kinangop constituency and is a registered taxpayer. On issue of educational background, Honorable Speaker, according to the documents submitted, the committee established that the nominee has the following academic qualification. 1, Doctor of Philosophy in Education from Masai Mara University 2024, Executive Master of Business Administration from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology 2009, Master of Education in Education Administration and Planning from the University of Nairobi 2004, Bachelor of Education Science, second class honor, upper division from the University of Nairobi 1984. Employment record, Honorable Speaker. From the profile, this nominee, Honorable Speaker, had been employed as a County Executive Committee member in the county government of Nyandarua, that is back 2019 to 2022. He happened to be the Chief Executive Officer, that is Executive Director, Semestia, and the CEO, Semase Africa Association 2014 to 2019. He happened to be the Chief Principal, Moi Force Academy, Nairobi, 2010 to 2013, Senior Principal, Moi Force Academy, and Jamhuri High School, Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, the nominee has several honoraries and awards which are captured in this report, more particularly, Honorable Speaker, in the field of the mathematics and science in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, on issue pertaining to the professional courses and association, the nominee is a board member, the Character and the Creativity Council, Global Peace Foundation, Kenya. He is also a member of the Scout Movement and the Kenya Red Cross Society Nyandarua chapter. On issue pertaining to the political affiliation and potential conflict of interest, the nominee informed the committee that he has no political affiliation or occupational inclination that would result to conflict of interest. Honorable Speaker, the committee observation and finding in relation to that, to this nominee, is that the committee have considered the nominee field questionnaire pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012 and the requirement of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, the nominee curriculum vitae, and having had their oral submission during his approval hearing, made the following observation on the overall suitability for appointment to the position of a chairperson of the County Public Service Board. That the nominee has a wealth experience in public service, in human resource management, as well as financial matters spanning 30 years, cumulatively. That the nominee academic professionals training and experience comply with the requirement of Section 6(8) of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approvals Act, and he has demonstrated knowledge on topical and technical issues touching on government. 3, that the nominee meets the requirement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearances from all the relevant statutory bodies and the Higher Education Loan Board. Number 4, that the nominee, according to the record and the information available to the committee, has never been adversely mentioned in any investigatory report or implicated in any issue that may lead to a conclusion of lack of integrity on her part. And lastly, that by the deadline of the submission on memoranda from members of the public, the clerk of the county assembly had not received any memorandum contesting the suitability of the nominee. So, in overall, suitability for Dr. Stephen Mwaura Joroge, the committee observed that the nominee meet all the indents requirement for the position of the chairperson as advertised, bachelor degree with master's as an added advantage, minimum 10 years experience, senior management level, not currently holding a position as public or state officer, and demonstrated understanding of the county diversity. The second nominee for the position of the secretary, that is Mr. Paul Geshoke Kingori, PhD. Honorable Speaker Paul Geshoke Kingori, PhD, appeared before the committee on 15th January 2026, and the Honorable Speaker at around 12:35 p.m. and formally submitted his relevant original document alongside a jury-filled vetting questionnaire as prescribed by the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approvals Act 2012. The committee, after inspection of the nominee document and taking him through a rigorous vetting process under oath, made the following observation and finding regarding his suitability. On issue pertaining to the personal background, the nominee is a male Kenya citizen and was born on 14th January 1987. He is proficient in English, Kiswahili, and Kikuyu. The nominee hails from Rishaubodo Ward in Nyandarua Sub-County. Honorable Speaker, this is one of the requirements that we, as a committee vetting, we were supposed to follow. And it is good to clarify that this nominee belonged to Nyandarua County as per the ID. Honorable Speaker, the nominee hold a PhD in Business Administration, accounting from Kabianga University, Masters in Business Management, accounting from Kabianga University, and bachelor degree, Business Management, accounting from Moi University. He also possesses the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education from Naro High School and a Kenya Certificate of Primary Education from Bodo Primary School. On issue of the employment record and work experience, the nominee has been a lecturer and held a head of department at the University of Kabianga. He has also acted as a consultant at the Kenya Accountancy and Secretarial National Examination Board from 2021 to date. He was a credit officer at Kenya Commercial Bank in 2012. On issue 2, the professional association and membership, the nominee is a member of the Institute of Certified Public Secretaries of Kenya, that is ICPSK, and a member of the Institute of Certified Public Account of Kenya, ICPAK. Honorable Speaker, on issue of On issue 2, the published lighting, political affiliation, and potential conflict of interest, the nominee stated that he has published several academics and journal writings and no political affiliation that would result to potential conflict of interest. On issue of the integrity, Honorable Speaker, the nominee has neither been charged in courts of law nor adversely mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, County Assembly, or any commission of inquiry in the last 3 years. The nominee has never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provision of Article 75 of our Constitution. Honorable 2010. Honorable Speaker, on issue of the income and net worth, the nominee informed the committee that his net worth was approximately 10 million, which accrues RAD, property, movable asset, and shares. Honorable Speaker, the committee observation on the suitability of the nominee. Having considered the nominee's field questionnaire pursuant to Section 79 of the Public Appointment County Assembly Approvals Act 2017, his curriculum vitae made the following observation on his suitability for appointment as a secretary to the County Public Service Board. 1, that the nominee has demonstrated experience in both the public and private sectors at senior level across various roles and is therefore well grounded to undertake leadership responsibilities within the public service. Number 2, that the nominee demonstrated adequate knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the County Public Service Board to which he has been nominated. Number 3, that the nominee is suitable for the position to which he was nominated as he was able to respond in a satisfactory manner to the queries raised during the approval hearing. Number 3 nominee, Honorable Speaker, is Ms. Miriam Nyamweru Thigari, nominee for the position of a member. Honorable Speaker, Miriam Nyamweru Thigari appeared before the committee on the 15th January 2026 at 3 p.m. and formally submitted her relevant original document alongside a jury field vetting questionnaire as prescribed by the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approvals Act 2012. The committee, after inspection of the nominee's document and taking her through a meticulous vetting process, made the following observation and finding regarding her suitability. Personal background. She is a female Kenyan citizen who was born on 15 March 2001. She is single. Besides being proficient in English, Kiswahili, and Kikuyu, the nominee hails from Mahedu village in Kajwiri Ridge Ward or Karau sub-county. Academic and professional background. The committee established that the nominee has the following academic qualification. 1, B Science Applied Computing, Information Security and Forensic from the KCA University, obtained in the year 2024. Employment record and work experience. The nominee has volunteered at Usawa Agenda, a not-for-profit organization registered in Kenya. She has volunteered with Astro Audio Solution Limited, an IT company registered in Kenya. She has worked with the IBC as an enumerator and a technical sales representative with MGAS Limited. Notably, Honorable Speaker, she was a student leader in the KCA University. Honorary and award. The nominee stated that she has no honor and award, professional association and membership. Honorable Speaker, the nominee has no professional association and membership. On issue of the published writing, the nominee has no published writings. On issue 2, political affiliation and potential conflict of interest, the nominee stated that she has no political affiliation and that she has no occupational inclination that would result to conflict of interest. On issue 2, the integrity, the nominee has neither been charged in court of law nor adversely mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, County Assembly, or any commission of inquiry in the last 3 years. The nominee has never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provision of Article 75 of the Constitution. On issue 2, in regard to income and net worth, the nominee informed the committee that her net worth was approximately 20,000 shillings. On issue of the pro bono charity work, the nominee indicated that she has not undertaken any pro bono or charity work. Honorable Speaker, in furtherance to this, the committee went ahead to dig further issue pertaining to the salient legal issue emerging from the nominee's approval hearing. Honorable Speaker, the following was the salient legal issue emerging from the report by the selection panel of the County Public Service Board at the nominee's approval hearing. The issue, whether the requirement under Section 58(3). Honorable Speaker, I beg pardon to this Honorable House.
Honorable members, those who are consulting in low tones so that we give the member opportunity to clear with his presentation.
The issue, Honorable Speaker, on the salient legal issue emerging from the nominee approval hearing. The issue is whether the requirement under Section 58(3)(d)(1) of the County Government Act 2012, as amended 2024, for a nominee to possess not less than 5 years working experience constitute a mandatory eligibility threshold that must be strictly proved before nomination or rather appointment. Honorable Speaker, the committee position of the Section 58(3)(d)(1) of the County Government Act 2012 as amended in 2024. In consideration Section 58(3)(d)(1) of the County Government Act, the committee observed that the provision 1 does not qualify experience as post-graduation. 2, the provision does not strict experience to periods after acquisition for the highest academic qualification. 3, that the provision does not exclude experience gained concurrently with studies or prior to graduation. And 4, that the provision does not exclude experience gained in private, informal, contractual, or part-time engagement. Honorable Speaker, in regard to statutory interpretation and judicial guidance, applying both the literal and purportive rules of statutory interpretation, Kenyan courts have consistently held that where Parliament intended to limit experience to post-qualification period, it did so expressly and in clear terms. In Law Society, in the case, we have a case law, Honorable Speaker, where we have the Law Society of Kenya versus Attorney General, and another 2019. EKLR, the court emphasized that where Parliament ties experience to admission, certification, or registration, such experience must logically be post-qualification. This principle, Honorable Speaker, demonstrates that Parliament acts deliberately and expressly wherever it intends to confine experience to post-qualification period. A clear statutory illustration is found in Section 16(1)(b) of the Engineers Act 2011, which provides that a person qualifies for registration as a professional engineer only if the person has, I quote, Honorable Speaker, at least 3 years practical experience after graduation under the supervision of a registered professional engineer. The express issue of the word after graduation confirmed that where Parliament intends such limitation, it states so explicitly. Judicial authority on the meaning of the experience. Honorable Speaker, the committee dig further. Guidance is found in Republic versus Public Service Commission, ex parte, Hulbai Gedi, Abdile 2017, EKLR, where the High Court held that, I quote, experience is not synonymous with academic qualification and may be acquired before, during, or after formal education, unless the statute expressly provide otherwise. Honorable Speaker, similarly, in Stephen Ochieng versus National Police Service Commission 2018 EKLR, the court observed that experience is a question of substance and actual engagement rather than the subsequencing of academic milestone. Honorable Speaker, applying this reasoning, it would be legally impermissible to construe Section 58(3)(d)(1) of the County Government Act as requiring post-graduation experience only. Such an interpretation would amount to reading into the statute words that Parliament deliberately omitted contrary to established principle of law and constitution interpretation. Honorable Speaker, I also have another finding where the National Assembly approved the appointment of one Vikirini Jacob Katoi Kahindi, who is a youth, graduated in 2023 in Pwani University, appointed as Principal Secretary, Honorable Speaker, in July 2025. And the requirement, Honorable Speaker, for the working experience for the PS is 10 years. If we consider the post-graduation, Honorable Speaker, this nominee or appointee had only 2 years from the time when he graduated in Pwani University. Honorable Speaker, in regards to this, Honorable Speaker, and many other findings that we found, the committee observed the suitability of the nominee, having considered the nominee totality of the engagement, including experience acquired prior to graduation, and guided by the Constitution, affirmative action, imperative for youth and women. The committee observed that Section 58(3)(d) I of the CGA does not restrict experience to post-graduation period. That relevant pre-graduation experience may roughly be considered, and that a purposive, inclusive interpretation consistent with Article 27, 55, and 232 of the Constitution 2010 of Kenya supports approval of the nominee. A rigid interpretation of Section 58(3)(d)(1) that effectively exclude young women from eligibility would undermine this constitutional imperative. Honorable Speaker, our supreme law in this country is the Constitution 2010, and it supersedes the statutory that govern Section 58(3)(d) I of the County Government Act. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution is the supreme law, and the statute must be interpreted in conformity with it. And in Laila Odinga's and others versus IBC and others 2017 EKLR, the Supreme Court emphasized that the Constitution must be read as an integral whole, and the statutory provision must be interpreted in a manner that advances constitutional values. Thus, Section 58(3)(d)(I) must be construed in a manner that upholds merit, recognizes relevant experience irrespective of graduation timelines, and advances inclusivity and affirmative action. Honorable Speaker, that nominee demonstrated adequate knowledge of topical, administrative, and typical issue touching on the County Public Service Board to which she has been nominated, that the nominee is suitable for the position to which she was nominated, as she was able to respond in a satisfactory manner to the queries raised during the approvals hearing. Honorable Speaker, on issue pertaining to Reverend David Kimani Kanyoni, He appeared before the committee on 15th January 2026 at 4 p.m. and formally submitted his relevant original document alongside a jury-filled vetting questionnaire as prescribed by the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approvals Act 2012. The committee, after inspection of the nominee document and taking him through meticulous vetting process under oath, made the following observation and finding regarding his suitability or otherwise. Personal background. The nominee is a male Kenyan citizen and was born 16th August 1964. He is, beside being proficient in English, Kiswahili, and Kikuyu, the nominee hails from Nyariroko village in Sharagita Ward, Oljororok sub-county. On issue to academic and professional background, the nominee holds 2 master's degrees, one from the University of Reading and other from St. Paul University, a bachelor degree from the St. Paul University, and a P1 course certificate from Kirimabogo Teachers Training College. He also possesses Kenya Certificate of Education KCE from Afra High School and a Certificate of Primary Education CPE from Kapeguria Boarding School. On issue of employment record and work experience, nominee has served as a director in the Department of Youth and Women Empowerment, Nyandarua County, and has also acted as the Chief Officer for Tourism, Wildlife, Sport and Youth Affairs. The nominee has also served in the following position: the Chief Mentoring Field Officer at the Equity Group Foundation Wings to Fry 2011-2013, a priest and also a provost with the Anglican Church of Kenya, ACK Nyahururu Diocese in 1988-2011, a head teacher employed by the Teacher Service Commission back 1988-2002. On honor and award, the nominee stated that he has been awarded the PLO Lumumba Leadership Award as the best performed St. Paul University Student President 2003-2004. Professional association and membership. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has no professional association and membership. Published in writings. Honorable Speaker, the nominee has published the following materials: 1, the international Sharia debates, and number 2, the purpose of Sharia laws in Kenya. Political affiliation and potential conflict of interest. The nominee stated that he has no political affiliation, despite the fact that he had eyed the position of MCA Sharagita Ward in 2022 general election. Further, the nominee stated that he has no occupational inclination that would result to conflict of interest. Integrity issue. The nominee has neither been charged in a court of law, nor adversely mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, County Assembly, or any commission of inquiry in the last 3 years. The nominee has never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provision of Article 75 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, on income and net worth, the nominee has approximately 70 million, which include land, property, and shares. On pro bono charity work issue, the nominee indicated that he has undertaken the following pro bono charity work: CSR at the Orkarao School of the Disabled and mentorship programs in school. On allegation arising, Honorable Speaker, from the memoranda by Mr. Johi contesting his suitability on the ground that he participated in the 2022 election, the nominee responded as follows. Despite though Honorable memoranda has been withdrawn by this public member, Mr. Kennedy Johi, I must communicate that, Honorable Speaker, on the floor of the House, that he withdrawn. Despite that, Honorable Speaker, it is good to capture in our report what were the allegations: that he did not participate. His response from the nominee is as follows: that he did not participate in an election as envisaged by Section 2 of the Election Act 2011. as the said party primaries were not conducted by the IBC. They were merely to identify a candidate whose name was to be forwarded to the IBC for gazettement in preparation of the elections as defined by Section 2 of the Elections Act 2011. The silent legal issue emerging from the nominee approval hearing. Honorable Speaker, the committee, having been seized with a memorandum of objection to the nominee's nomination by one Kennedy Jogona Johi, dated the 8th of January 2026, and having conducted the nominee approval hearing, the following were the silent legal issue that emerged that the committee had to do a determination on. One, when does an election legal occur under the Election Act 2011? Two, whether internal party nominations constitute an election in law. Three, whether defeat at party primaries amount to participation in an election. Four, what is the implication for statutory disqualification based on prior political participation? From the committee's deliberation, it was observed as follows. The issue, when does election occur under the Election Act? Mr. Speaker, sir, it was observed that Section 2 of the Election Act defined as an election as, I quote, presidential, parliamentary, or county election, and include a by-election. Honorable Speaker, this definition lead together with Article 88(4) of our Constitution 2010 and Section 13 of the Elections Act make it clear that an election is a formal statutory process conducted and supervised by the IBC. An election is therefore legally initiated when IBC issue a notice of election and IBC receives and processes nomination of candidate. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the notice of election, IBC should gazette in the Kenya government printer. Before this point, no election as envisaged under the Election Act 2011 exists in law. Issue Honorable number 2, Honorable Speaker, whether internal party nomination constitute an election in law. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was observed that internal party nomination are governed by the Political Parties Act and the party's constitution, are conducted before the IBC process begins, are private political party affairs, albeit subject to legal regulation. That the internal party nomination serve only one purpose, to identify a party nominee for presentation to the IBC. Honorable Speaker, issue number 3, does defeat at party primaries amount to participation in an election? Honorable Speaker, it was observed that in law, participation in an election requires engagement with the IBC process. A person can only be said to have participated in an election if they receive a nomination certificate, party or independent, and 2, are cleared by the IBC as a candidate under the Election Act. Honorable Speaker, it is then follows that where a person only contested party primaries and was defeated before nomination and IBC clearance, they never became a candidate in an election. Accordingly, such a person did not participate in an election, as defined under Section 2 of the Election Act. Issue number 4, implication for the disqualification based on the political participation. Honorable Speaker, it was observed that statutory provision disqualifying persons who have sought elective office or participated in an election must be On 8th August 1988, shares provision in English, Kiswahili, and Kikuyu. The nominee hails from Karagada village in Nyakio Ward in Kinangop sub-county. Academic background, the nominee has stellar academic background. She holds a Bachelor of Commerce from Kenyatta University. She possesses the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education from Karima Girls High School, where she scored an A minor. She has a Kenya Certificate of Primary Education from Jory Hope Academy. On employment record and work experience, the nominee has been a senior internal auditor par excellence at Nyandarua County Assembly from 2015, not 2022, from 2022 to date. She has been an internal auditor at Nyandarua County Assembly from 2015 to 2022. She was a finance officer at African Enterprise Fund from 2014 to 2015. On professional association and membership, the nominee is a member of the Institute of Certified Public Account of Kenya, number 19108. On published writings, political affiliation, and potential conflict of interest, the nominee stated that she has no published writing and no political affiliation that would result to potential conflict of interest. On issue pertaining to integrity, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law nor adversely mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, County Assembly, or any commission of inquiry in the last 3 years, and in accordance to Article 75 of our Constitution 2010. The nominee's net worth is approximately 15 million, which include large property and shares. Honorable Speaker, on pro bono and charity work, the nominee indicated that as an ACK Mothers Union leader in the Nyandarua Diocese, she led and coordinated a fundraising initiative to support vulnerable school-going children. The funds were used to purchase and distribute sanitary ware and essential personal items to needy students in selected primary and secondary schools across the country. Honorable Speaker, the committee observation of the suitability of the nominee is that the nominee has demonstrated experience in both the public and private sectors at a senior level across the various roles, and is therefore well grounded to undertake the leadership responsibility within the public service. That the nominee demonstrated adequate knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the County Public Service Board to which she has been nominated, and that the nominee is suitable for the position to which she was nominated, as she was able to respond in a satisfactory manner to the queries raised during the approvals hearing. Honorable Speaker, finally, the recommendation of the committee is that this House to approve all the nominees, starting from Dr. Stephen Mwaura Joroge, PhD, HSC, as the chairperson. Second, Dr. Paul Gishoki Kingori, PhD, for appointment as the secretary to the County Public Service Board. Number 3, Reverend David Kanyoni Kimani, for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. 4, Reverend David Goge Kabono, for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. 5, Ms. Miriam Nyamwero Digari, for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. And lastly, Ms. Dorcas J. Karaja, for appointments as a member of the County Public Service Board. Honorable Speaker, I therefore now request my able chair to second this motion. Vice Chair to second.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Ednard. Yes, we can have Honorable Sasha.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for granting me this opportunity to second this motion and give my thoughts, share my thoughts or observations and recommendations as a person. First, I want to thank the committee members led by our able chair, Honorable Ednard Kingori, the secretariat that spent ample time to come up with to compile this report, and also the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk for facilitating us to be able to come up and discuss in length the contents of this document. Honorable Speaker, I want to assert into this House that the committee is very competent. We have very sober minds, and we are not lazy. We have done our research, and coming up with this report was well informed, and we know that we are not misleading this House. On the criteria, during the vetting process, which was aired online, you can all witness that it was thorough, vigorous, and the people we had here were very competent in answering their questions. And some of the criteria we used, as put in section 7, 8, 10, and 11 of the County Government Act, of the Public Appointment Act, section 8 and section 9. This one outlines the requirements or the criteria that these people, these nominees need to have acquired so that they become qualified. One is the academic credentials. Second, the professional experience. Potential conflict of interest, you have to prove you have none. You have to ensure that all statutory obligations you have honored. The vision, leadership and knowledge, integrity, performance and presentation, and overall suitability. And also we requested for relevant clearances from the institutions such as KRA, EACC, DSCI, HELB, CRB, as it is always the procedure. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to delve into much. I will only touch on the salient legal issues that we felt this House need to address with keenness, understand, and even make precedents that will guide the county going forward. From the description, from the reports, every nominee had their own powers according to the position they were seeking, and we were very keen on the chairperson and the secretary, whom from their presentation, the understanding of public issues, and the experience that they have had, they are very competent. Those are very critical officers and members of that board. And then we have now the ordinary members. And Mr. Speaker, when we were doing research on what constitutes or where the board falls, we realized that the board members are neither state nor public officers. So that is a very unique position, and that somehow goes to explain why we have made the recommendations that everyone is suitable. Going to section 58(3)(d)(1) of the County Government Act 2012, that provides that nominee should not have it does not specify that it only recognizes the postgraduate experiences. It also includes, it does not exclude experience gained concurrently with studies or prior to graduation. Remember, many people, they work, we're at school. You would not tell me or convince me, but it is about sharpening skills. We're at school. Some of us went through that process. We worked when we were studying. And I think it accumulatively brings to who we are today. The other thing is the experience gained in student leadership. And this one will speak to the student leaders we have and the students at large, who may think these positions are just for political show or maybe for show, but it's legally recognized that leadership experience is also experience. Can be counted in leadership since her campus days. And you have seen we quoted the law intends to confine experience to post-qualification. occurred, but it is somehow just happens in the society. And so I will stand firmly to protect her and to convince these noble have always disadvantaged the young people by denying them meaningful employment. Remember, in this, if we are to award a youth, even skilled young person, because of the experience gap or tag, you will find that they will never have, meaningful employment in this county. And so, Mr. Speaker, these members and us as a quasi-judicial body, we have the power to make a precedent that can be referenced later after we are done with this, our term is over. And young people, despite their...
Point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, to the House or to the member?
To the member.
Yes. You need the information, Honorable Sasha?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I'm following very keenly on the deliberation, and I agree to the honorable member to some extent, but I feel because of the Hansard, she have used a very serious message to say that this house can do away with repugnant laws that has been preventing youth from getting jobs. It's good to inform him that it is not this house that have registered on those repugnant, so that she is referring. Otherwise, this is a requirement according to the County Government Act, which was not done by this assembly, but it was done by the National Assembly. So the only thing we can do, and I agree with her totally, it is to navigate within the law. For now, as of course, within that law, but we cannot do anything for us in this assembly to change what has been registered on the County Government Act. But for those laws that are within ourselves, for that we agree. But for this matter, nothing much.
Honorable Sasha, proceed as you comment on the information.
Yes, thank you for that information, Honorable Chair Budget. Maybe I was a bit brutal with my words, but what I meant to say is I was not criticizing the law, but the rigidity in interpreting the same law, whereby if it is not expressly stated that postgraduate experience is needed, you do not have to impose it on a young person who is seeking gainful employment. So maybe, Honorable Speaker, that was a bit of misunderstanding. I still think I'm online with what I'm saying. It is about the interpretation, but thank you so much, Honorable Kongo. So it should be a lesson, or maybe we should regain the public trust, and especially of our young people, and show them that really those people, such young people like me, I'm a youth, in party nominations which are internal, where else a candidate is recognized after the submission of their papers to the IEBC. And so I want to agree with our report. And just to touch on why it is important that we do not carry the baggage of interest in any political formation, it is good that the law has a caveat to protect change of heart. So if you have political interest and then you decide to look for a appointive or dominative position, just because you presented yourself at the party primaries does not bar you from pursuing a future opportunity within the 5 years, as we would, without checking the law, as we would just in layman's interpret it. So what does this do to us? The reason I appreciate the law coming in to define who is a candidate is because it gives us and I'm talking to every member here because we have political interest, and in the next dispensation, you don't know where you will be. And so those who have not been elected, mostly, the rest you have nomination papers from IEBC, you are recognized. But in the 5 years, the nominated and the specially elected members, you are protected from a shift in political strategy. You can decide to go do your career or maybe get an appointment in an unpolitical space. It also protects you from legal challenges, objections at IEBC clearance, political sabotage through court cases, preservation of eligibility for appointive and nominative slots, whether if you have vied and lost and you are recognized by ABC, you are not eligible to get this position. So basically, if you did not vie, you can be considered for political party lists, nominations, special interest seats, appointments, consensus, and direct tickets. And legal clarity in case of disputes. It helps in legal clarity so that in case of such a dispute where there was a petition which gladly was withdrawn, you are able to defend yourself by either showing no evidence of your involvement or the relevant committees or board, committees deciding your case, they can check into that, whether you are deemed for sure a candidate. In conclusion, let us remember, I want to urge all of you that this is the time that we need to push to be remembered as an assembly that rehabilitated the young people in this county by not interpreting the law rigidly, which only deters the dreams of our local youths. We must recognize and appreciate the spirit of affirmative action as envisaged in Article 27 of the Constitution, which to note that the Constitution is the supreme law, so every other law bows to it. Let us be the source of hope to our students in campuses, to our young people around, to our skilled and learned young people who would want to access meaningful opportunities but have always had the tag of inexperience on them. And I will quote one American educator as I conclude and philanthropist called Mary McLeod Bethune. We have a powerful potential in our youth, and we must have the courage to change old ideas and practices so that we may direct the power towards good ends. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I second.
Thank you, Honorable Session. I now propose the question, which is that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution on the approval of various names on the position of Chairperson, Secretary, Member of the Nyandarua County Public Service Board as a report of the House and recommendations therein as a resolution of the House, and that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Dr. Stephen Moran Njoroge, PhD, HSC, for appointment as the Chairperson of the County Public Service Board. That pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Dr. Paul Gishuki Ngingori, PhD, for appointment as Secretary of County Public Service Board. That pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Reverend David Kanyoni Kimani for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. That pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Reverend David Ngogi Kabono for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. And number 5, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Ms. Miriam Nyamuero Digari for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. That pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Ms. Dorcas Njeri Karanja for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution on the approval of various nominees to the position of Chairperson, Secretary, and members of the Nyandarua County Public Service Board as a report of the House and the recommendations therein as the resolution of the House, and that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Dr. Stephen Mwaura Njoroge, PhD, HSC, for appointment as a chairperson for the County Public Service Board. Honorable members, I'll go name by name. So I'm starting the first name, that pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Dr. Stephen Mwaura Njoroge, PhD, HSC, for appointment as the chairperson of the County Public Service Board. May those of a similar opinion say aye.
Aye.
May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. That pursuant to Section 58 of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Dr. Paul Gishuki Kingori, PhD, for appointment as the Secretary to the County Public Service Board. May those of a similar opinion say aye.
Aye.
May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. That this House, pursuant to Section 58 of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Reverend David Kanyoni Kimani for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. May those of a similar opinion say aye.
Aye.
May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. That pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Reverend David Ngogi Kabono for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. May those of a similar opinion say aye.
Aye.
May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. That pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Ms. Miriam Nyamwero Digari for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. May those of a similar opinion say aye.
Aye.
May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. That pursuant to Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House does approve Ms. Dorcas Njeri Karanja for appointment as a member of the County Public Service Board. May those of a similar opinion say aye.
Aye.
May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we've exhausted the business scheduled for this special sitting.
So, honorable members, there being no other business to transact during today's sitting, I now adjourn the House to 10th day of February 2026 at 2:30 p.m.